Okay, could you please introduce yourself for our YouTube listeners?
All right, so my name is Emma Angerberg, and I am responding to the board meeting assignment for week 12.
Okay, great. Can you please identify the district and where that district is located?
So the district that I chose to attend the board meeting was Kern High School District, and that is located on 5801 Sundale Avenue in Bakersfield, California.
Great. What is the approximate size of that district and what grade levels do they serve?
So the approximate size is 39,570 students. That is 18 schools, and the grade levels that are served are 9th through 12th.
Okay. Who is the board president at Kern High School District?
The current board president is Philip Peters.
Okay, and what is the total number of elected board members?
Right, the number of elected board members is 5, including Mr. Peters.
Okay, and how often do they meet as a board?
So this board meets about once a month, usually the first Monday of each month, but that depends on if everything goes as planned or if people can attend or not.
Okay, I guess the holidays probably
Most
affect that.
likely.
Yeah. So describe the types of business that the board is required to address at each meeting.
So some of the items that are required to address include items from the superintendent's office, business and education services, types of programs, instructions, specific to each Kern High School site, and human resources.
Okay, can you describe the general format and atmosphere in which the meeting was conducted?
All right, so in their board meeting room, there seemed to be a raised type of semicircle platform with each board member sitting. They each had a microphone. And a couple feet in front of that was a podium that included a microphone for each speaker or people or a group of people that was invited to speak at. And it seemed very formal. The atmosphere was formal, but there was also times of maybe a group of students had come up and they were able to speak about their programs however way they saw fit that would maybe appeal to the board members, if it was maybe a little more lighthearted or maybe even more formal.
Okay, so share your general impression regarding the experience in watching that meeting.
So my impression was that everything was very formal, that the board members addressed every speaker fairly. They were given their amount of time they had to speak. They were addressed when they were supposed to come up. They just seemed very fair and respectful to any person who wanted to come and either voice their opinion, voice a complaint, or just voice what was going on at their high school.
Okay, were there any of the agenda items that you found particularly important or interesting?
So there were 2 items where parents from the Kern High School District had come to address a complaint that they had filed months before they had come to the district meeting, and I thought it was interesting that it took even months for the Kern High School District to either respond or not respond to their complaints, even though they had gone through the formal complaint process. So I thought that was interesting that they had to come after they had not been responded to. So the fact they had to come in person and voice their complaint rather than going through the formal complaint process that is there for a reason, rather than having to make it become such a big deal where they have to come in person.
Right.
Another thing that I thought was interesting was the groundbreaking for the pool. Thought that's very exciting, especially for any future swimmers or water polo teams maybe.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So how would you relate any of the board items or discussion points, how would you relate those to specific topics that you've come across during this course?
So relating it to the textbook and topics we've discussed, maybe to some of the TED Talks we've watched about how even the students from Miramonte High, spreading positivity. I know we've watched TED Talks that address that type of issue, maybe in schools or with having parents choose a school for their student to attend, a school that makes sure that that type of program is part of their either curriculum or an extracurricular or even just something that they think is important. So I would relate it to maybe how parents would choose a school if they had maybe watched this board meeting to decide, oh, this high school thinks that this is important, or they don't think this is important, or they think this is too important. Maybe they should focus on something else. So that's how I would relate it.
So did they, like, some of the stuff that I know you've talked about that you've read in the book, like regarding education law or policies and procedures specifically, did they really address, was there any touch on that during the board meeting?
No, I'm sure they maybe have in previous meetings, or they usually do, but not in this Kern High School District meeting. I know the only type of law or maybe rule that they had talked about was how they addressed the speakers in how to file a complaint, maybe, if we could relate that. But,
right. And then very specific guidelines about timing. Yeah, I know you mentioned that when we practiced a little bit. So
yeah.
So what was your overall impression now that you've actually seen the board in action versus just reading about it like you did in the text? How is that different or the same?
I think it would maybe be a little bit different because, or maybe even the same, because it could go both ways, because the community I didn't realize how involved the community could be in these types of board meetings, and I know the textbook goes over community involvement and how important that can be to a district's policies or even a high school's I wouldn't say curriculum, but what they think should be done.
Yeah, the overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you have any other thoughts or points you want to make after watching?
That's it.
All right. Good job. It's nice talking to you.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.